Sup flappers, it's that time of the month where Genshin Impact is about to update with new character banners, but it's often during these last few days where we really start to think and worry if we are making the right choice. FOMO, which is fear of missing out, as well as buyer's remorse, are very real emotions that plagues us all at some point. So as usual, I am here to hopefully assist you in making the final decision so you may continue enjoying the game without needing to worry about if you are making the best choice for your Genshin Impact account. If you are looking for a more direct comparison between units such as Child and Zhongli, I do have a video already made. I'll link it on screen right now. This video will be to focus directly on the new Zhongli banner, which I will be assuming to have Zhongli and Yanfei at minimum. So if videos like these do help you out a lot, please make sure to subscribe, as it does actually help out me a lot in return. Now with that said, let's start with Zhongli, as that's the reason most of you will be watching this video. It doesn't matter what your reasoning is to summon Zhongli, what actually justifies spending your resources on him are the merits he brings to your team. Now that can range from his direct combat abilities or just his presence as a daddy, but the Geo Archon certainly won't do it for free, and you have to hold up your part of the contract in order to be able to reap the rewards. What I mean by that is Zhongli is a unit whom requires heavy resource investment regardless of what role you want to play him. Unlike his Anemo counterpart Venti, Zhongli will suck in resources like a vacuum, and the more you put in him, the more powerful he gets. Granted, for support Zhongli, there comes a breaking point where any more resources become not as impactful as something like Juggernaut Zhongli. More on this a little later in the video. I think we are past the times where we should be telling people to be ready to level up the 5 stars you are summoning for. Currently, unlike the newer units, everything you need to take Zhongli to max are readily available in the world. So if you currently have a guaranteed pity for him, you should be preparing for his arrival as mentioned previously. The man demands a lot. When it comes to weapons for support Zhongli, all 5-star spears are better than 4 stars, with the best being Staff of Homa, of course followed by Vortex Vanquisher. 4-star options in the support position. Favonius Lance for support Zhongli is a great option, and if you are completely out of options, you can go with Prototype Star Glitter. But this is not a guide video, so these are just very basic suggestions. I will be making a guide video a little later. And of course, if you are building Juggernaut Zhongli, then you absolutely need the Crescent Pike, or if not, then the Staff of Homa. These two weapons are almost a necessity if you are serious about this Zhongli build path. I won't go into details here as this isn't a guide video like I mentioned, but you should be working towards these as you anticipate the arrival of your own Geo Daddy. Listen people, Zhongli is an amazing unit. He can work wonders, but I don't want you all to feel deceived by all the hype and expecting him to be some sort of unit that fixes all of your problems. He won't be. For most people, you won't have the resources to make him hit 7,000 per auto attack with 30,000 charge attack and soloing Abyss 12 by himself. But if you do have the Crescent Pike, I definitely do suggest you try out his physical DPS build every now and then. It is quite addicting and a ton of fun watching all the numbers pop up on screen, completely demolishing anything you will face. And to top it off, he is incredibly easy to use, not just for the PC, but for mobile and PS4 as well. Unlike the newly designed units, Zhongli has no gimmicks, and you don't need to really animation cancel. There are options to do so, of course, during his attack sequences, but you are absolutely fine without it. It doesn't get easier to use than Zhongli, people, and the man literally smack booty cheeks with a meteor. I mean, really, come on. Furthermore, I want to touch a bit on Zhongli's constellations. Now, this is a big deal because constellations average over $100 each. And if you are asking me if C1 Zhongli has the value of $100 comparatively to other constellations out there, or potentially new units, I'd have to say a hard no. People, if there is one thing to take away from this video, it's that if you are going to go for C1 Zhongli, you better be ready to go for C2, because with how poorly valued the C1 is, C2 actually makes it back and then some. An extra pillar for Zhongli doesn't mean much. as his energy regen is already at random, so while you likely will be expecting some sort of boost to it, it's not noticeable. Zhongli's energy regen isn't something that can be calculated or expected. It's truly random. Sometimes you can get lucky and get more, and other times you are expecting your burst to be ready, but it isn't. C1 does not solve this issue. C2 gives you a damn near infinite shield time, so it's obvious which one here holds more value. Anyways, that's enough about Zhongli. Let's talk about Yanfei. For those of you who are still here, Yanfei, according to how she was shown in the special program, functions around her normal and charge attack, in accordance to these quote-unquote seals that she collects when she attacks. Seals reduce her stamina consumption and increases her charge attack area of effect damage. Just from this, it's enough to assume she will likely be most optimal in the main DPS position, as there is nothing in her kit that hints towards her having off-field presence, which at this point is a staple for most, if not all, support DPS and or support characters. Furthermore, it's important to note that she likely will be amazing with someone like Xingqiu just due to how literally everything she does is pyro, as well as having Xingqiu there to counter enemies whom are the pyro element. Most of Yanfei's kit does remind me of how Ningguang plays around her Starjades, but at the same time it does feel unlike Ningguang, who plays around her burst. Yanfei plays around her normal and charge attack, with the rest of her kit weaved in to facilitate this playstyle. So for players who are looking for more auto-based mage carries, Yanfei might be your best option here. Ultimately, we still have 2 more units to unveil for the Zhongli banner, but I think it's safe to say that it really doesn't matter who will be on the banner. Most of us will be pulling. For people who don't have Zhongli, I do urge you to get at least 1 copy, because listen, C0 Archons are some of the most well worth it units in the game comparatively to others available. With this being the second time Zhongli and Venti have come and gone, it's hard to say when they will return next. With new units on the horizon and more units to rerun from, it's safe to assume miHoYo will make us wait quite a while before Zhongli's next rerun. We likely won't see him again for the remainder of this year, and with how DPS power creeping has already happened, it's hard to guarantee any value when it comes to main DPS characters such as Child, Ganyu, Hu Tao, you name it. It's not much of a stretch to say that Venti and Zhongli sits 1 tier above everyone else, and I think miHoYo has done that through design. Furthermore, I have mentioned earlier in the video, Zhongli is a character that gets better with more resource invested, and if you pick him up, he will only get better as you continue to pour resources into him. The main reason for this is due to the fact that he scales in all directions and is viable in all roles except the healer. His Jade Shield is damn near impossible to power creep, and the only way miHoYo can try to make Zhongli less relevant is to gate him out through content restrictions. Example being content which prohibits Geo units. Now this is a win-win for us, because if miHoYo doesn't release new content, then we get to continue playing with our Geo daddy god, and if they do, well, hey, new content. Let's not kid ourselves here, Yanfei will likely be the cherry on top of the giant Zhongli cake we are all wanting a piece of. While she does seem to offer a unique and interesting playstyle, when it comes to pyro characters, it's unsure where she will sit among the hierarchy, so I do think she will just be an alternative DPS option as opposed to more power creeping. And people, that's it for this video. I'm so glad miHoYo has given us all a chance to go for Zhongli once again, and surely this time people will not let him get away. If you have any doubts or are skipping him, I do suggest you go watch this video where I talk a bit about some cons I personally had when playing with him, but do be ready for some hard takes which may or may not be right. But then again, they are mostly personal to myself, as I've been playing him since before he was even buffed. But anyways, I will be streaming tomorrow at 7 PM Pacific Standard Time, so come and check it out and ask me questions if you have more. So until then, everybody, stay safe and peace.